Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, Capital Markets Analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. Been a little bit busy recently trying to develop and build this podcast studio for the city I live in, Burien. They've got Discover Burien. Discover Burien's a nonprofit. They produce and organize a lot of events, the 4th of July parade, Pride Parade, education resources. They're going to have a maker space too. So I'm really excited. In addition to this podcast room that's available to the community, once I'm done building it out, they're going to have a maker space. So they'll have a 3D printing room, a CNC machine, another machine that will cut out metal. So I'm really excited about learning how to do that. I've got my own 3D printing projects that I want to do, as well as hosting more podcasts here. So I don't have to worry about my puppies so much, doing it at my house. So I'm pretty excited. But that's another reason why I've been kind of gone or missing the last week, but I'm back. So we're going to dive into the top 10 cannabis industry news stories of the week, starting out with the pandemic. The coronavirus fears intensify, so cannabis companies could get hit. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going to be going to a company that makes hypochlorous acid. A lot of the clients that they have are countries. So the UAE, Chile, India, they buy this. They call it God's tears because it's basically saline with a charge. And they buy it for natural disasters. So in addition to bird flu, swine flu, the coronavirus, it'll also help with powdery mildew, mold, pops the legs off spider mites, and so NIOSH is the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. They tested this particular product and said it's the only thing that kills prions. Prions are similar to like a rope. It's a protein strand that is difficult to kill on the inside of that rope because it's kind of protected. So NIOSH is used to having to incinerate everything. Anytime prions comes up, they have to incinerate desks, plastic gloves, you name it. And so this particular product is the only thing that they've tested that kills prions. And so if you're using just alcohol, that is going to be difficult because it takes at least a minute or two or three to wash your hands to kill the germs, but that alcohol will evaporate in 30 seconds. So it doesn't actually work. Purell doesn't actually work for a lot of these viruses. And so we'll be doing another podcast on this particular hypochlorous acid. And we did it a while ago, about 2-3 years ago. We did it for a medical marijuana grow. I'll put that link in the show notes. It's a pretty old podcast, but nonetheless, it kind of just shows me going in there with flip flops and a t-shirt and spraying it, not having to worry essentially about a full mass because it's organic and well, not organic. It's just natural, right? I don't have to worry about having a full gear on. So there are some things you can use for yourself and for cannabis, and it's this unique blend of hypochlorous. So number 9 is there's an interview with TransCanna Holding. Apparently, they've got a good investment opportunity, or at least they're going to explain why it's a good investment opportunity. Not even sure why this is news. So moving on to number 8, there's research using LSD microdosing, uncovering possible breakthrough for Alzheimer's disease. There's been a lot of interesting talks about Silicon Valley microdosing LSD, psilocybins, MDMA, or ecstasy, Molly, as the kids call it. But it basically will help with PTSD, a lot of issues for military veterans and essentially anybody who has some of these Alzheimer's and PTSD and other issues. Basically, just resetting your brain if you have depression, a lot of different options. So interesting to see kind of where the microdosing on LSD and psilocybins go. Number 7 is the Vermont House approves legal marijuana sales. They legalized, or they had a recreational marijuana consumption and home grow way back in 2018. They voted at 90 to 54 in favor of a bill that seeks to legalize the recreational cannabis sales at dispensaries across the state. Number 6 is the NFL may soon do away with player suspension for cannabis use. We interviewed Marvin Washington. I'll put that link in the show notes as well. We talked about the collective bargaining agreement with the NFL. It would essentially not, they NFL players would not be suspended for using cannabis, but they still are going to test some of them, not as often. So they're going to have a monetary penalty. Remember, this is all about money. It's not about health or anything else. So they're still going to fine these players for whatever reason. We'll see what the backlash is on that. Number 5 is Canadians can lose their Nexus Pass over legal cannabis use in Canada, according to a U.S. document. If you're going across the border, tell them that you are on vacation. If you tell them that you're in the cannabis industry, that's not good. I had interviewed an individual from Canada who was honest and told the U.S. Customs that he was going to a cannabis event. It was MJ BizCon 2018, and they basically interrogated him. The only thing that saved him, according to him, was that he wasn't making any money. He was an intern, so they let him go through. Uh, but I would definitely just go with the whole holiday thing. Look at Facebook events, come up with something. Last time I went to Canada was not for the Lift Expo, it was for the Gluten Free Expo. And then before that, I was up there for some music event. Don't even remember what it was because I didn't go. But essentially, come up with something different. Cannabis is legal in Canada, but the U.S. border guards, if they find out about it, you might be banned for life or at least have your Nexus Pass taken. Number 4, in a major shift, the UN drug chief questions whether control treaties involving cannabis are out of date. So the president, Cornelius Johntree, he discussed the developments taking place with regards to cannabis. The president of the Narcotics Enforcement Agency of the United States, or United Nations, is questioning whether the agency's decade-old conventions are outdated, given global policy developments in recent years involving drugs such as cannabis. Yeah, I think they're looking at Canada, they're looking at Mexico, and obviously United Nations headquarters is in New York, so it might as well be a U.S.-based agency, considering that the U.S. is the one that funds them the most. So they need to get on board with that, but it's not going to happen until the U.S. gives them the green light. Number 3 is concerns looming over the corona impact on cannabis industry. Some firms could gain from the fallout. So marijuana companies likely to join other industries feeling the fallout from corona outbreak. There's many companies hurt by the virus, industry experts are predicting, mostly caused by a temporary shutdown of Chinese manufacturing plants. And on the flip side, some U.S. companies might be able to step in and fill the void. All right, number 2 is banning CBD products would be a fool's game, according to the FDA chief. The hemp and its derivatives have been federally legal in the U.S. since the passage of the 2018 Farm Bill. Products containing cannabidiol, or CBD, are here to stay, according to the Food and Drug Administration's Commissioner Stephen Hahn, who acknowledged that on Wednesday, calling it a fool's game to attempt to pull the products off the market. Of course, it's all about money, right? So they see the tax revenue. They're not about to, put a wrench in that game. They kind of want to extend it, as a matter of fact. Which brings us to number 1, the locations announced for 10 new legal weed stores in Toronto. Ontario has long been criticized for having too few legal pot shops to effectively combat the black market. Hobo Cannabis is a Vancouver-based marijuana company that announced plans to open a total of 15 new stores across Ontario today, 10 of which will be located within the GTA. Well, it's funny that a Vancouver-based company is going to Toronto when, in fact, Vancouver doesn't have hardly any stores at all right now. So hopefully they'll be opening up. I know Hobo is in Vancouver downtown, but they need more stores there. All right, so with that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't.